pro-gay straight women are hypocrites? Does this mean that, inversely, pro-straight gay women are hypocrites too? That we would shit-can our girlfriends upon finding out they're bisexual, or wouldn't date a woman we knew was bisexual in the first place? Well, I suppose that's neither here nor there. And granted, there are many women out there who wouldn't date a bisexual, whether their proclivities lean toward men or women. They're under the mostly mistaken impression that bisexuals are sexual profligates who can't control or won't control their urges toward either sex, and will simply go where the river flows without giving a thought to monogamy. But this, however, is an overgeneralization, and a wrong one at that. Many bisexuals want the same things that many gay and straight people want: a solid, long-term relationship built on trust and faithfulness. Notice that I don't say most because, unlike you, I refuse to make unsubstantiated claims for which I don't even have statistics. You say that straight women want their men to pretend to be alike, yet on the other hand they would not date a bisexual man. Stepping momentarily over another overgeneralization, as well as an oversimplification, let's assume that the second part of the statement is correct. It still, however, does not directly follow the first part of the statement. Straight women want their men to be alike, yet would not date a bisexual man. That's like saying that Z follows A without providing any of the steps in between. Your point here is lost. You say that straight women would furthermore not date a man based on his bisexuality alone, and that if the perfect man were found to be bisexual, that would be a deal breaker. Well, for some women, the so-called perfect man would not be bisexual in the first place, nor would he be heterosexual beyond his attraction to her. This is neither a healthy nor, one hopes, a common attitude. Once more you proclaim that straight women, which you are not, and even if you were, you couldn't claim to speak for all straight women, want or claim that all men are alike, and yet in their hypocrisy do not believe it when confronted with bisexual men, who you and many others of your stripe call faggots. Straight women, in your previously expressed view, want the perfect man, and said perfect man cannot be like every other man because then every man would be perfect, which, carried to its furthest conclusion, would make no man perfect, since perfection can be quite exclusionary. And when faced with perfection, many women would grow quickly bored, for without some flaws, or because or in spite of, to create friction, there'd be all steak and no sizzle. Many people do not, in fact, want the perfect mate. Nonviolent homophobia is good for the species, and people who date bisexuals are more likely to catch STDs. Why is that? You simply state these opinions and give no arguments, proof, or reasons. I will not debate these bald statements without at least an argument for why you believe them. And I notice that you also use the term bisexual faggot, the clinical term and the offensive slang term, in the same sentence. Redundant much? You go on to say that 20% of gay men have HIV and syphilis and cooties and hammer toe, what have you, and that this is proven by the generic term studies. Which studies? From what doubtfully reputable source? You mention that you're an atheist, as if the cachet of atheism provides you with some sort of authority to make pronouncements that need neither proof nor solid argument. Hey, guess what? I'm an atheist and I say the sky is green. See? An argument from authority is simply a logical fallacy. Furthermore, you state that women don't want to date faggots and you don't want to hang around with one, that it's practically the same thing. And it is practically the same thing. Bigotry. Prejudice. The same sort of prejudice that your forebears and mine were fighting against in the civil rights movement. They were against judging people for how they were born rather than who they are and what they do. So stop being hypocrites is what you tell bitches. Admit that they would not date a bisexual man. That bitches think that bisexual men are wrong. Then you ask these bitches for their rational reasons for not dating bisexual men. Then tell them their reasons are that they're disgusted by bisexual men as straight men are. So correct me if I've lost count, but you're speaking for straight women, bitches, and straight men as well? If I didn't know better, I'd say you have identity issues that need addressing. and certainly before you go making any more videos like this one. Your opinions are simply that, opinions. And just because you lack faith doesn't mean that your opinions don't require proof, arguments, and reasons. And so I ask you, what are your arguments, proof, and reasons for claiming that all straight women wouldn't want to date bisexual men? What is your rationale?